Should markets decide the value of everything? Hi everyone, today I'd like to discuss a question that lies at the intersection of economics, ethics, and political philosophy. Should markets determine the value of everything? Modern societies rely heavily on markets. Markets determine the prices of food, housing, labor, technology, and countless other goods and services. According to economic theory, prices reflect the interaction of supply and demand. When markets function competitively, they allocate scarce resources efficiently by directing them towards their most valued users. Because of this, many economists argue that markets are the most effective mechanism for organizing economic activity. Markets also respect individual choice. Consumers may decide what to purchase, while producers decide what to sell. Neither side is forced to participate. Voluntary exchange generally benefits both parties because each expects to become better off. Furthermore, price signals encourage innovation. When demand for a product increases, firms have strong incentives to develop better technologies and expand production. In this way, markets promote economic growth and rising living standards. However, an important question remains. Should everything be treated as a commodity? There are certain goods that many people believe should not be allocated solely through market forces. Consider education. If access to quality education depends entirely on the ability to pay, talented students from disadvantaged backgrounds may never realize their potential. Society then loses valuable human capital. Similarly, healthcare raises difficult ethical questions. Should life-saving medical treatment be distributed only according to purchasing power? Many argue that healthcare is not merely a private commodity, but also a fundamental social good. Markets also struggle to account for moral values. For example, people generally reject the idea of buying and selling votes in elections. Likewise, most societies prohibit markets for human organs, despite the fact that legal markets might increase supply. These examples suggest that efficiency is not the only value societies seek to protect. Human dignity, equality, and justice also matter. Political philosopher Michael Sandel has argued that markets are excellent instruments, but poor moral justice. Markets can tell us what people are willing to pay. They cannot tell us what ought to be bought and sold. Confusing market value with moral value risks reducing every human relationship to a financial transaction. In my opinion, markets should remain the primary mechanism for allocating ordinary economic goods because they promote efficiency, innovation, and consumer choice. However, governments should recognize that certain goods such as justice, education, public health, and democratic rights possess values that extend beyond market prices. In these areas, ethical principles should sometimes take precedence over economic efficiency. Ultimately, markets are remarkably effective tools, but they are only tools. A prosperous society is not one in which markets determine the value of everything. It is one in which markets operate within a legal and ethical framework that reflects the broader values of a democratic community. So here's my question for you. Do you think there are certain goods or services that should never be bought and sold regardless of the economic benefits? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for listening. See you next time.